When creating multilingual apps with Fliplet, there are a couple of requirements and changes to make to your app to ensure that everything works as you intend. In this video, we'll look at what you need to do to create an app that is one app with multiple languages. There are other options, but not all of the settings and changes we talk about in this video will be required. You can learn more in the multilingual apps support article available at help.fliplet.com. The first thing you'll need to do is firstly let the app know that there will be multiple languages. So we'll click on the app name to open up the app settings, and here you can see the languages. Firstly, we'll choose the language that you want your app to be available in. So in this example, we'll choose Chinese and then make sure to save those settings. Once you've let the app know there'll be additional languages, we'll now need to add the select language screen. This screen will ensure that the user is then taken to the correct screen once they select the language and that everything in the app is shown entirely in the selected language. Click on the Add Screens button and we can just search for language and add this screen to your app. Do note that this step is only required for apps with more than one language. The select language functionality is configured using the data source. So if we select here, we can see on the right hand side the data source is available here. In the data source, you'll see the name column. This is how the language selection will appear. The ISO code. The ISO code is required to enable the code in the app to translate the correct screen to the correct language. We've added the flag column where we can include an image, but this is optional, and also the screen name. This is where to add the screen that you want the user to be taken to after clicking the desired language. Once you have set up your additional language screens, you'll need to ensure that this matches exactly the name of the screen that you'd like the user to go to. So once you've configured your data source, you'll click Save and all the changes will be represented here. Now we'll need to set up additional screens per language. So the Fliplet translation feature will translate any of the standard text as part of the screen. This does not include any content that you are adding to the screen, and these translations should be done manually. So any screen content such as your text or menu titles will need to be translated. In this case, what we'll do is actually just duplicate the existing screens and get those translated. As you can see here on the left hand side, we've now got each of the screens duplicated. So for any screen that you wish to translate, you'll need to select it and rename. For each screen that needs to be translated, you will need to add a prefix. Each language will have a different prefix, and in this case, Chinese is CN, as you can see on the screen now. And if we move over to the English screens, we will rename those with the prefix EN. Now we'll need to set up the app menu in different languages. This will enable the app menu to only show the screens in the language that has been selected on the select language screen. So first up, we'll need to copy and paste some code into the global JavaScript. This code is available on the multilingual apps support article available at help.fliplet.com, but we'll open up the developer options here, choose global and then select JavaScript. We'll now paste this code and click Save and Run. This will enable the menu to only show the options that are required. We now switch over to preview mode and head into select language. If we choose Chinese, this will take us to the login screen. You can see here that all the standard text has been translated, but anything that is an optional edit, such as the title and the button name here, this will need to be translated manually. If we move over to the home screen and take a look at the menu, you'll see that the prefix have been removed, only the screen names are being displayed. Of course, in this option, we don't actually have the Chinese translation on the screen name, so if we just give that a change, like so, and ensure that that is reflected in our menu links also. You'll now see when we jump over to preview that the screen name would be in the translated language. Switching back to English and the home screen, you'll see here that only the English translations are displaying. To summarise, to create one app with multiple languages, you'll need to configure your app in another language using the settings, add the select language screen template and configure the data source, set up any additional screens per language, and finally set up the app menu in the different languages.